Hey guys, it's Kaitlin. Welcome back to Bandit and Cass. Today I'm going to be planning my October bullet journal, and this will be in a bit of a different journal than you're used to because I have now finished my current journal, which was a B6 full year stalogy. That guy is all filled up, and now I'm moving on to a B6 half year stalogy. I did already set up a couple of yearly spreads at the beginning of this journal, which I show in full detail in my bullet journal setup video, which was up last week. So I'll link that below if you haven't seen it. But if you have seen it, we'll be starting off where we left off. So I'm flipping the page right after my grid spacing guide, and that is where I'm going to start the new month of October. For this October setup, I'll be mainly using two supplies, a 0.5mm gel pen and a Tombow Funosuke hard tip pen. Of course, the hard tip pen is optional. Feel free to swap this out for your regular handwriting, cursive, or even stamping, whatever works best for you and your journaling needs. So with that out of the way, let's get into it with our first page, which is our quote cover page. In order to get my quote page centered and spaced out properly, I create a guide where I mark how much space I have between each line, as well as the middle of each line of letters. If anyone is doing this in a similar journal, I like to space out my lines 3 squares apart, and then for the bottom of the quote to the October 2020, that is 4 squares. The quote that I chose for this month's cover page says, "Nothing in life is to be feared, it is only to be understood," and this was said by Marie Curie. I really like how this quote incorporates the aspect of fear, which I feel is quite representative of Halloween, while still giving me a little bit of a nugget of wisdom to think about for the beginning of the month. I like to create a theme with my monthly quote pages and have them all relate to a quote that has to do with wisdom and causes me to reflect, but feel free to change up the quote on this page so it's something that resonates with you. Maybe you want to start your monthly quote page with some song lyrics that you're listening to. Anything really works as long as it's on the page and the page itself acts as a separation for the upcoming month. And if you're like me and you have a new journal and you're lettering this quote at the beginning of a notebook, one thing I did which really helped my lettering come out a lot better was I took a notepad that was a similar thickness to the spine of my notebook and I slipped it under the left hand cover, which is obviously a lot thinner than the right hand side since we're at the beginning of the book. And this allowed me to have an even surface to letter on, so there were no big lumps in the paper that caused my brush pen to behave in a way that I did not want it to. Next, I'm turning the page and moving into my monthly vertical calendar for October. This calendar stays very consistent month after month. I'm a really big fan of the vertical calendar, so that is why I keep making it. I like to first letter the title of the month on the side. This is because I have a bit of a smaller notebook. It's B6 size, so I wouldn't be able to fit an entire vertical calendar with the title at the top. Therefore, to work around that, I put it at the side, and then I put the days of the month and then the days of the week right beside it. Then I can go ahead and write in the dates, appointments, and other things I have going on in the month. And for days that have more than one event, I like to create a / between the first event and the second event to create some division. I also like to draw some horizontal lines to divide up my weeks so I can see what weeks I might have a couple more appointments and stuff going on and what weeks might be a little lighter. On the right hand side of the spread, I like to write the subtitle focus, and this is an area where I like to write down my monthly goals, the personal projects I want to be working on for this month. This doesn't include school projects since I record that on a separate page, but anything personal or house related I keep here. And then I also have a section for fun stuff. I think it's important to have a section where you can write down stuff you want to do just for fun and not really for a specific purpose or to accomplish anything. So I use the section to write down stuff like watching Halloween movies in the month of October because that's something that is really fun for me. On the following page, I do the continuation of the monthly calendar by recording my monthly tasks, notes, accomplishments, and due dates. In order to record all these things, I use half a page for each category, and I separate them by lettering the name of the category at the top of its section. Although I have a separate spread where I record all of the due dates I have for each semester in grad school, I do like writing down the due dates I have to do for each specific month, so then I can check them off as I do them. This allows me to see my progress, as well as it gives me a really good morale booster, which we all need during the halfway point of the semester. I then go back underneath the task header and make a Alistair method checklist so that I can note down what tasks I have to do during the month, and I'm able to schedule them into specific weeks so they're a little more actionable. Now, normally after my tasks page, I would be creating my habit tracker, but this time I decided to throw in a spread in between those, and that spread is my projects overview. Now that I am back in grad school, I find that having a spot for me to map out all of the assignments I have to do and when I'm going to do certain steps sets me up for more success in the long run, as well as just less stress and anxiety over getting things done in time. This was one of the spreads I set up in my student bullet journal setup video. The reason why I didn't create this last month in September is because my semester didn't really start till halfway through the month, so I haven't really had any assignments due yet. Therefore, I didn't really have any projects I needed to map out. But now that we are in October, assignments are going full steam ahead, and I really need this spread. Essentially, this acts as a bit of a timeline. I write the days of the month horizontally across the page. I do it in 2 rows because my page isn't big enough for all 31 days. And then I use the left-hand column beside the numbers to write the assignment or project I have going on. And then I will use a pen or a marker to block out the days that I want to work on certain steps. I also like to use the bottom right corner to have a spot to record upcoming assignments and things that are happening in the next couple of months, because sometimes I have assignments that might not be due in the month, but I have to start working on because they're due at the beginning of the next month. Now we are moving back into the more standard monthly setup that I go for and going back into my habit tracker. I kept this very similar to how I set it up last month, recording the 4 main habits at the top, then recording sleep in the middle, energy at the bottom, and then screen time on the right hand side. The 4 habits I've decided to track this month are workouts, vitamins, flossing, and morning pages. And I slightly modified the circles in this section. Normally I just create 31 circles and fill them in as I complete the habit. But this month I thought I would think ahead, and I drew out the circles in the way that the calendar lies. So I started my first circle on what would be the Thursday column and ended my last circle on the Saturday column. This will just make it a bit easier for me to fill it in throughout the month. For my sleep tracker, I like to do the numbers of the month across horizontally, and then down the first column, I write the hours 9 p.m. to 9 a.m., and that's where I mark when I actually went to sleep and when I woke up. And then at the very bottom, I write hours so I can record how much sleep I got that evening. Then for energy, I do the same thing as sleep, writing the days of the month across horizontally. And then I like to write high, medium, and low so I can record days I have high energy, medium energy, and low energy. Finally, for the screen tracker, I used to have a title above this that said screen, but didn't really fit in very well, and I kind of know what this tracker does, so I didn't write it in this time. Instead, I just wrote the numbers of the month all the way down the column, and this will be a spot where I will fill in how much screen time I have on my laptop per day. Now we have come to the last spread of the October monthly setup, and this one is always fun to look at the end of the month and kind of blank at the beginning of the month because this is the October memory spread. I started doing these spreads in August, and I must say I've really enjoyed doing them. Pretty much this spread is a spot to record things that have happened in the month. I like to think about things I ate, read, listened to, people I saw, things I wore, places I visited, all of that good stuff. And I personally like to record this in the form of different types of typography to make it visually interesting, but still realistic and achievable for me to complete the spread. Here is a photo of what the August one looked like. I really love how this was a spot for me to not only record moments during the month that were really interesting and special, but also I was able to express myself creatively and experiment with different fonts. I also love how easy this spread is to set up at the beginning of the month, since I just have to throw in the title and then the prompts at the top and bottom of the page. Alright, and that is all for my October monthly setup. Right now I'm just adding a copper clip that I like to use to mark off the beginning of my monthlies in my bullet journal, and that is all that is going to be happening for October's monthly setup. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope that you found this interesting, inspiring, or at least mildly entertaining, and I hope that you can take a couple of these ideas for spreads and put them in your own journal for this month. Let me know below what Halloween movie you're most excited to watch this month. I love watching Hocus Pocus every year. I also love rewatching the Halloween episode of every season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine on Halloween night, which is a really fun tradition. Alright, and I believe that is all from me today. I will see you guys in next Saturday's video, and until then, I hope you are all staying happy and healthy. Bye everyone.